What's up guys, Pidget here. This character is the tankiest that I ever played. I had no problem with the new Uber bosses, and even I can tank them if I want to. Also, the damage is so good. You can delete any non-Uber content under a few seconds if the boss fight doesn't have phases. The mapping is really safe and we don't have any problems with the new Pax Nemesis modifiers. On the defensive side, we have so many things. Firstly, we're using life and energy shield combination, using Grace Aura or evasion rating, so we almost can't die from the monster's basic attacks or projectile. Because we're using Grace, we can use the Ghostline's keystone. When we take a hit, we will recover 3% of our evasion rating as energy shield. Without anything, we have over 25k evasion rating, so we will recover 750 energy shield if we take a, and we can do this 3 times in a row before the stacks recharge. To benefit from this even more, we using a specific body armor craft, maximum life as maximum energy shield, and we using a timeless jabber to get the carotid soul keystone. This will give us even more energy shield, so total we get 25% life as extra energy shield. Determination and Molten Shell combo for the physical damage reduction. Because of that, we are using our panic button while Molten Shell. When this is active, we almost immortal for the duration. For even more duration, we linked increased duration to this skill, so we can use this for almost 20 seconds, which is plenty of time to do the boss mechanics or just search a safe zone to recover. Speaking of physical damage, we're using 3 minimum endurance charge for even more damage reduction. To complete our holy trinity, we are adding to our build a banner. And you guessed right, Defiance banner for the increased armor and evasion rating. Ignite and shock immunity, because we choose sabotage as our Ascendancy. It's important to get these immunities in the current patch because all the monsters could shock or ignite us. For even more defense, I upgraded my Pantheon to get freeze immunity, also with reducing the effect of chill by 50%. Now we almost can't be touched by the physical attacks, only danger left for us is the spell damage. But we have a solution for this, using spell suppression on gear, which is preventing half of the spell damage when we're taking a spell damage. We are also blinding nearby enemies and we will take 15% less damage from them. This is a trap build, so we can preload our damage, so we can burst down the boss in the first few seconds, using a very specific item to increase our damage even more, which is Altering Scepter from Heist. And this is giving us the Secrets of Suffering keystone. If you not used this before, we can't ignite, chill or shock. For exchange, we can inflict Brittle, which is increasing the base critical chance against the boss. This is huge, so we can reach 100% critical chance easily. Instead of ignite, we inflicting Scorched, that will increase the elemental damage the boss take. Sabbed instead of shock, which is reducing the damage the boss deal to us. Because we are trap build, we can generate power and frenzy charge easily if an enemy is triggering our traps. Huh? First of all, I would like if you hit the like button like the shaper hitting the adder, so it can start spread to more people. Thank you! Before we continue, I want to give you a few tips for crafting this gear, because if you plug in a few pieces of gear on the trade site, maybe you will discover it will be expensive to buy. I'm used Harvest on every single gear. I just bought the bases for a few chaos and then spammed Reforge on the gear till I got what I want. Literally every type of Reforge, like life, defense, and so on. I took all the harvest node on the Atlas tree and almost block all the rest League mechanic, expect expedition. But of course, if you have the money to burn, just buy the gear. All the bases needs to be evasion and energy shield hybrid, because the spell suppression is only rolling evasion bases. Energy shield because we need a little bit of extra energy shield for the Ghost Dance keystone. Your scepter needs to be this base, alternating scepter, otherwise you can get this keystone cheap because the Secret of Suffering is coming from a cluster jewel, which is dropping from a delirium boss with a low chance. This is a cheaper option and you even save a few points on the tree. When I was making this video, this weapon with these stats cost like 1x only, and even had an open suffix to craft drops throwing speed, which is functioning like cost speed for spells. You need lightning damage in your build somewhere on your gear to inflict sabotage. This is not necessary, but it's a good thing to be more tanky. So the important stats you're looking for: +1 to level of all physical spell skill gems, and needs to be trap, throwing speed, craft. You need an open suffix for this. On your shield, amulet, you need +1 to fire or physical skill gems to increase your damage and your survivability. On your rings and amulet, need minimum endurance charge craft, which is coming from the betray mechanic when unveiling rings or amulets, and you need an open suffix for this craft. For anointment is expeditious munitions. The stats you looking on your gear: life on every single piece of gear, resistance and spell suppression. The following implicits you can craft with Eldritch currency. Spam till you get the following. On your gloves, you need cold exposure on hit, because we're converting 40% of our physical damage to cold. This will increase the cold damage and the brighter effect. The higher cold damage you inflict, the higher brittle effect will be. Trap throwing speed, this is functioning like cost speed for casters. On your helmet, damage penetrates fire resistance and any type of added damage to spells. Worth to mention, you need explosive trap cause 2 additional smaller explosion enchantment. On your boots, only necessary is the gain physical damage as extra fire damage. Why is a Pinnacle Atlas boss in your presence? The other mod is up to you, because we already has Brighter, Scorch and Sap. We didn't benefit more if we using these mods. I suggest to you to get, if you haven't killed recently, enchantment on your boots. You can get lightning damage like me, or if you get lucky you can get the 10% penetrate one, which is the best, but sadly I didn't get it. On your body armor, determination has increased aura effect, and while a unique enemy is in your presence, you get more effects from your auras. Few crafts you need in this build. On your jewelry, you need minimum endurance charge craft, which is coming from the betray mechanic when unveiling rings and amulets. You need open suffix for this craft. On your body armor, you need maximum life as extra energy shield craft, which is coming from the betray mechanic when unveiling body armors from Gravitious, and this varied modes needs to be a prefix. On your weapon and belt, you need trap throwing speed. This is functioning like cost speed for casters. I just want to highlight a few things on the passive tree that you need for the build. We're using 8 passive cluster jewel with Iron Breaker, Battle Hardened and Force Multiplier. 2 medium cluster gemmers, the first with Suppress Sabotage and Guerry Tactics. The other jewel, Eye of the Storm and Astonishing Affliction, using Glorious Vanity Timeless Jewel with this line, sacrificed in the name of Doriani and needs to be here. And then we can take the Corrupted Soul's Keystone. The rest of the jewels is real with life and critical strike multiplier with fire skills, and if you can try to get extra strength on this, it will give us more health. An important note here: when you fighting Agnist Uber bosses, take Lethé Shade Keystone. You need unspec Elemental Focus, Force Multiplier and this little note here, and you can take this here. We're taking Saboteur as our Ascendancy because almost this is the only Ascendancy in the game that synergizes very well with the traps. The notables in order are the following. In your first lab you take Perfect Crime because our mana cost in the early stages is high. This helps sustain our mana, also it gives us extra damage. Second lab we take Explosion Expert for more damage. Third lab you will take Pyromaniac. This is what I really like in this Ascendancy. You will get health regen and you will be immune to shock and ignite. When you complete your Uber lab, take Born in the Shadow. This is our defensive part. You will take less damage from the blinded enemies, while nearby enemies is also blinded. Gem and Gemling, starting with our main skill: Explosive Trap, increase critical damage, Life Tap, Trap and Might damage support, Swift Assembly, and Concentrated Effect. This is our bossing setup. When we're doing maps, we're using cluster traps and switching out Swift Assembly support. If you have good gear and good damage, you could use Increased Array Effect support instead of Concentrated Effect. In our gloves or auras, starting with Determination, Herald of Ash, Grace, and using an enlightened support. Only level 3 needed. In our boots, we using Flame Dash, this is our movement skill, using Bear Trap. Enemies will take increased damage from our traps. We linked Life Tap support because when all of the auras is active, we only have 12 mana left. And lastly, Assassin Mark also linked with Life Tap support. This is our Mark skill, it will increase our critical and critical strike multiplier. In our helmet or defensive setup, cost when damage taken with Molten Shell and while Molten Shell, increase duration, and of course we linked Life Tap support here. Lastly, we using Defiance Banner, it will increase our evasion and armor, and we using Skitter bots. I hope you enjoyed this video about Explosive Trap Saboteur, and if you had any question, please let me know under the comment section. Thanks for watching guys, and see you next time.